Ben Jacobson here with a really quick X100s initial impression video. Just wanted to walk you through my thoughts after the first weekend with the X100s, because I know everyone's curious what's changed, what's new, what's different, and just how things look. So let me just walk you through some things really quick. First off, the autofocus is obviously something everyone wants to know about. I just turned down my exposure comp on the 5D here so you can see the screen a little better. And there's a lock. Now notice this is 1/25th f2 2500 ISO, so it's relatively dark in here right now. I intentionally did that so that you can see how it works in lower light. Now I'm shooting at, you can see my Canon A2E is over here, film body. I have at the end of the table an Olympus OM, and midway at the table I have a Canon 24-70. So basically one is from the Fuji, one is about a foot, 2 feet, something like that, and then one's long, far away, and even farther away. So the gist of it is, if we point and shoot at the Canon on high contrast, it locks no problem. If we point the Olympus, it locks no problem. If we go over here to the closer target, it still hunts a bit. And this is, here's the thing. If you watch that, it will, when it locks with a green box, it is in focus. There are no more errors where you get a green box but a blurry shot. Okay, but you will occasionally get a red box where it won't go, and I'm getting proven wrong here right now because I'm getting green boxes that are out of focus. But having shot with this for the last basically 24 hours, it's much better. Low light, it's still slow, and I do have my Olympus right here. And the Olympus is faster, okay? So if we move it over, and we go to the Olympus, and of course, you want to show off, and it doesn't do what you want it to, but the Olympus every time locks on that can, okay? Every time, take the shot. And all three in a row, really quick. Now, with the X100, you can see my cat jumping up there, and it locked that time. So, is it better? Yes. Hands down, no question. Better focus. Is it better than an OMD? No, it is not. Hands down, no question, the OMD has better autofocus still. But the X100s is getting to where it's probably adequate for, I don't know, 90%, 99%. Most people who want this camera, a lot of them tolerated the quirks for an X100. So now that it's this improved, most people are going to just use it. So it's much better. The other thing that's significantly better is with the first X100, the step between where you needed macro turned on and off was quite far away from the camera, 2 or 3 feet, something like that. And it would not take shots if you were in macro mode, if it was outside of macro distance, and vice versa. Now that distance is, I don't know, maybe a foot from the back of the camera. If that, I think it's more closer to like 7-8 inches. So that aspect alone has made it significantly better. Now I will say, when you get closer to the camera in low light, like when we aim over here at this Canon, that's when it hunts. There you go, and it just locks. So it did get that in focus, but it took a minute. Whereas at a distance, no problem. So it's much better, it's not perfect. And the other question is, maybe with firmware updates they'll make it even better. We won't know, but it's definitely a lot better. Big improvements, not perfect, okay? Not perfect. The Olympus still has it beat, but it's very good. So let me just go through the rest of the changes really quick, because I know people really want to know what's going on. One of the first ones I noticed is the delete menu's changed. So you hit up to say delete, and now it says frame. So you press OK to say OK to frame. It hasn't deleted anything yet. You say OK again, it deletes that frame. But now it's letting you see the arrows left to right. You can press left to right to cycle through and just pick off images you want to delete. It's actually nice to be able to do this. I don't mind this at all. The only thing is, I do wish you could just hit up to, I wish there was a faster way to delete the last image. But this is quite nice for what it's worth. I've already adjusted to this method where it now lets you go through. We did tub time earlier, and there's bunches and bunches and bunches of pictures from today. Like I said, I use this for my kids, so I went skiing with my son today, and lots of fun images. So, and I will say much fewer out of focus shots now, which is great. So delete's changed. The OK button has changed. It is significantly easier. I have very big thumbs, and watch how easy. I just press it. No problem. You don't need the little donut stickers, nothing. It just works. The other funny thing no one mentioned is the Q button is flat now, where it used to be the raw button. It was domed like the display button. So if you have an X100, the display feels the same. Q is flat. Okay. The switch for AF changed, as I said. It also feels a bit snappier, but continuous is in the middle now. The aperture ring feels a bit clickier. Like it kind of sticks in spot a bit more. You'll notice I have, when I go skiing, this is how it goes in my pocket. No more lens hood, no UV, no nothing. Here's my regular ring and hood. But yeah, when I go skiing, this is a knockoff attachment ring, and then it's a 49 to 37 step ring. I don't know if it's an up or down, but basically that was in my ski jacket all day like that, and it keeps the fabric off your camera. It's worked really well for me. I found with the old camera as well. The lugs are reinforced. I don't really use the lugs. If I do, I'm going to tie a piece of line through there, but they're reinforced. There is a better coating on both the optics front and back because I actually fat fingered it today and wiped it right off. The new EVF looks fantastic. You can preview images. You don't see dots. You just see images, which is fantastic. The EV up here is much stiffer. I don't know if you need a lens mate to protect it anymore. It's actually quite hard to adjust, at least quickly, because you have to get your finger just in the front when you have this on here. You might be able to go without it. I'm just using this for the thumb grip, which is fantastic. So keep that in mind. So the other thing is, in this mode, you just hit up and then select your AF point. It's fantastic. It used to be over here, and view mode used to be over here somewhere, or maybe drive, but they switched it, and it's like, well, why didn't they do that originally? It's fantastic. What else? The Q menu, very nice, comes up, does, you know, basic settings versus customs, ISO, stuff like that. The one thing that's annoying is, like, when was the last time you ever adjusted your highlight tone or your shadow tone or your color or your sharpness, you know, quickly on your camera? Because you can't change anything that's in here. There's 12 things there, plus another 4 on the bottom, so really 16. You can't assign any to this screen. You can assign the function button still, but you can't assign anything in here. And now the two big ones, three I would love to see in here. One is the ND filter, on and off, and there's mine, is up here. The other one would be the wide angle converter, on and off, because if you have it, you're gonna wanna switch to it quickly, and otherwise you have to go menu. And then I think it's in, let's see if we can find it quick. Wide angle's in menu 3 down here. So that's the only way to get to the wide angle conversion, unless you assign it to function. And then the other one is the advanced filters, which again, you come in here, you go over to 4, you pop out, and they're on the top, which the advanced filters, the reason they're fun is it's black and white ones. You might like them, don't really care. Soft focus, again, not huge. But the two I love are low key and high key, because these aren't just JPEG tweaks, they also change the metering. So when you do high key or low key, high key gives you a brightly exposed image that's not blown out. Low key does the same thing, going the other way. It makes a very dark image where it's not blocked up. So effectively it's exposed to the right and exposed to the left, which are very, very handy, but you can only get them in here. It then has a miniature mode, which is kind of cool. It's like tilt shift. I haven't played with it, but in theory it should be fun. But again, those are only buried in the menu, so kind of not ideal to get to. Now another one is, you'll notice a lot of the things on the screen are smaller and pushed out to the sides, which is fantastic. It just gives you more to look at. And not that the X100 was bad, but this is better. Another thing is the charger is still terrible. You still need to be careful not to lose this piece. because it can fall out. But the other thing is they don't give you this. This is an Apple part. They give you a cable to plug this into a wall and it hangs. I really like having wall chargers. So if you don't want a wall charger, maybe this is ideal. But I've gone and put an Apple, it's the little part that goes on your power charger for an Apple computer. I've gone and put that on it. Power plugs fold in and out. You get them off Amazon for like $2. So it's an easy way to get around it. Not the end of the world. I actually use Wasabi spare battery packs, and they come with their own charger, so I just use that charger anyway. So not terrible. And then lastly, one of the other things is the auto ISO. We all know it changed, and I'm not getting there the fastest way. So if we go ISO, you'll notice I have it on auto, but here's your normal, oops, I keep waving my finger past the sensor, which is why it's doing that. But so here's your ISO. Right at the bottom of the list, you go past low, which you can't get to without going JPEG, to auto, and you see it all written across the bottom. Base 200, limit 6400, at a shutter of 1/25. Kind of cool they write it at the bottom like that. And you just press right, and you have default 200, max 6400, min shutter speed 1/125. And you can set those however you want. But yeah, so they're all right there, easy to do. So yeah, a few things I don't like. I mean, the focus isn't perfect. It's not as good as the Olympus, but it's finally good enough. I can use this camera with my family without really having problems. And maybe they'll improve it with firmware updates now that they can. Oh, and the peaking, let's see here, let's get that up really quick. So let's just switch to manual focus. And then I already have peaking on. So two things. One is, see how fast the red line moves? Now this is dark. We're in a room where it's 1/25 f2 at 2000 right now. And watch the red line move. So they've totally fixed that. And you should be able to see peaking on, I don't know how well you're picking up what I have on the screen, but the peaking works well. Sony does a better job of it. Sony offers you colors, and Sony's is much more, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, if you were to call it hair growing off of the part that's in focus, theirs is longer, I guess. It's more exaggerated. It's much easier to see. If you zoom in on this, it works really well. You can see it right there, just go right across the face of that camera, and then the crack in the table. Works fantastic that way, but when you're zoomed out, it's kind of hard to see. So they could give us colors, they could make it even more exaggerated. So that's one thing, and then let's dive into the menus really quick. I think that's, where is that? Bear with me here. Framing, manual assist. Okay, right down here at the bottom. And I think there's a shortcut to this too. But digital split image pops up. And there you go, there's the digital split image. And now the digital split image works very well when there's horizontal lines through something, or vertical lines through something. So if we go over here and line it up, you can see on that lens, it's not straight, not straight, not straight, and then somewhere in there it's going to be straight. But I mean, some people are going to love this. Personally, I much prefer peaking. So I'm just going to go back into the menu and set mine back to peaking. There we go. And I see I have it on high, low's even worse. But so yeah, those are big improvements. And the one thing I will say is, like, if you're trying to focus on something a foot from the camera in low light, it's not the end of the world. Just flip the switch to manual and manually focus it. So I'll say that. But yeah, so and here's the menu differences. You can, and this is all posted elsewhere, but you can go through. The one thing that's funny is it does hesitate when you go from the red one to the blue one. See, I'm pressing it and it goes up fast, but it goes down really slow for whatever reason. But they are much better laid out than they were before, and good looking generally. So hopefully that shows you, that answers your question. I know these are very hard to come by right now. I'll be making sure I post on Facebook and the forum whenever I see them in stock so people can grab them. You can see, as I said, this is the LensMate thumb rest, so it has a thumb rest to make it really grippy, but it also guards your EV wheel, which I'm torn on whether I love or hate for this camera. It just makes it harder to get to. The nice thing is right here, this kind of latches over the old mark for EV and they put a dot there, but so it's really locked on. It's not going anywhere. You can see I have the Really Right Stuff plate underneath with a spider pin, and the reason is because I'm a spider user and it allows me to attach the pin but also set the camera down. So that can just be in my spider all the time. So that's why that is there. I'm also going to try to make somehow a hand grip that comes up here that looks better than Really Right Stuff's god-awful massive option. But you can see there's 3 holes that are tapped right there. You can still open the door too, by the way. But yeah, I'm going to try to make something. I might have to grind this off, but I'm going to try to make a grip that fits this. That's a better solution. But there you have it, X100s. First weekend in the books. So far, I'm really liking it. The focus is basically good enough that it's not annoying in low light. And look at that, last first try. And here's the other trick that everyone always says too. If you just switch to manual, it does work every time. But yeah, focus is good enough. All the other changes are fantastic. The sensor's great, we knew that. It's out of the other 2 cameras, the X Pro 1 and the XE1. But yeah, fantastic little camera now. Really enjoying it. The focus is good enough. All the other changes are fantastic. A lot of the other changes are actually huge improvements, making the camera better in terms of usability, like the ability to set the AF point quickly and stuff like that. So there's lots of reasons to consider upgrading that, you know, may or may not push you over the edge. So, but generally, I would say if you're a happy X100 user, I would avoid this camera like the plague, because you're going to want one. If you're an unhappy X100 user, consider trying this to see if it's the right answer for you, but maybe Micro Four Thirds with an Olympus body is, because they do focus faster, and the IQ with the 17-1.8, this lens is so close it's scary. Really, really good lens. Olympus makes great bodies. But yeah, so far the X100's impressed me. We'll see how it goes over the next week, and I should have a full review in about a week, maybe a little longer. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a couple updates along the way too. But yeah, Ben Jacobson for Ben Jacobson Photo. Hopefully you enjoy this review and it answers some of your questions about the X100S. Feel free to leave comments on YouTube or on the blog, wherever you find this video, and I'll answer them as well as I can. And if you have any hints on things I have mentioned and don't know, like maybe assigning things to the Q menu or the shortcut to the manual focus helpers, anything like that, drop me a line. I'd appreciate to hear from you guys. Thanks. Talk to you later.